Hey, good morning, good people. This is your boy, Big Ron. Hey, buckle up because it's going to be a long video. But anyway, basically, this is going to be my life story about who I am and why I'm going to build the biggest travel club. And this is why I'm the perfect person to do it. This is why I have the belief that I will do it. But anyway, so long story short, and good morning. I'm on my morning walk right now in the middle of nowhere, so y'all gotta ride with me. But anyway, so like I said, I'm gonna name some names, and if you hear your name, tag me, post, comment, because I want everybody to know this is real. But anyway, we're gonna start at the beginning in my confidence. So anyway, me and my boy Victor Locke, he's been my right hand. We used to work at this group home called Kaijo. And we used to do whatever the fuck we wanted, whenever we wanted, like everything. So, and the company had to hire specialists to fire us. You know, and then they had us on performance improvement plans, and we was beating the cases and shit. But it is what it is. They ended up firing us. So then we was like, forget it. We gonna go. You know me. You bought a CD from me, so we used our last paycheck. You know, we went and bought a whole bunch of blank CDs, whole bunch of DVDs. We brought us some ink. We printed out everything, and it was just crazy. That sunrise. But anyway, so in the meantime, you know, I was like, we got to update our resumes. So I was like, Vic, I said, Vic, give me a resume. I looked at it, and it looked like a goddamn third grader put his resume together. Like, Vic, give me this shit. So I updated his resume. We went to this job fair. When we was at this job fair, we was passing out resumes and stuff. So then we out selling CDs. Victor got hired to work at this company called Where He At Now. They hired him, so he got on, and I'm out selling CDs, whatever, getting ready. Fast forward some stuff, but anyway, I ended up getting hired for this job called Westcare. You know, I didn't know what it was. So basically, they called me for a panel interview. That first day, I was late because I couldn't find it. So, you know, they did me the interview. I did good on the interview. The next day, they called me in. There was another interview, another panel interview. I killed it, so they hired me. So I'm like, cool, you know. The lady asked me, what do you want your salary to be? Now, I'm coming from a group home. I think we was making like $12 an hour. So I was like, hey, how much does the last person get? You know, I want whatever she has. The secretary was like, we can't tell you that. So I left the shit blank. Y'all gonna have to, you know, because this is supposed to be a grown-up job, you know, a real corporate job. So I'm sitting through orientation, and they treating me different than they treating everybody else. And I was like, this is weird. I'm like, damn, you know. So then they ended up giving me a BlackBerry. So this is how old it is. It was a BlackBerry. They gave me a BlackBerry, some keys, and all this other stuff. And they were like, we're gonna start you at $60,000. Back then, I was like jackpot. You know, I was like, what the hell? So then I was like, what the hell did I sign up for? You know, so my job description was mental health program coordinator. For that position, you needed a master's, you needed all kinds of degrees and qualifications in mental health. I'm coming from a group home manager, you know. I didn't even have an AA at the time. So I was like, oh shit, they hired the wrong motherfucking person. So I told Vic, I said, hey, I'm gonna squeeze 3 paychecks up out of this job before they catch me, and then we go on to the next thing, you know. So I started working there. That's where I met Rashonda. I met Jennifer Nichols. I hired Jennifer, actually. Jennifer Nichols, it was Deanne, it was all kinds of people, you know. So I got people with masters, licensed social workers. So it's like, this is my first time hearing mental health. I didn't have a fucking clue what mental health was. So they gave me the contracts. I'm going to meetings with the Mayor Ashby and all these top leaders in Westcare. I found out that as a program coordinator, I'm the number 2 person in charge of mental health, you know. I just had my one guy, Frank Torres, above me. So I was like, so I found out, you know, there's a book called the DSM. At the time, it was like a 4 or 5, whatever. So I'm reading this, trying to figure out what the hell any of this means. I had no clue. Then I start reading the contracts. And I'm like, okay, so if they stay in these groups, we get money. So the more groups we do, the more money we get. So I was like, man, and I'm number 2. I'm in charge. I'm going to suit. I'm going to work with my suit, everything, real grown-up job. So I changed everything around because they used to have a 2-hour break where with no money being made. So I staggered that shit. I changed everything around. So we had groups clocking. So then, like I said, my first 2 to 3 weeks there, I changed up everything. Billings started coming in, and I think she said I tripled the program's income from the previous person. I was at that job for 5 years. All right. During the time, I had one of my staff. She's always fuck with me because I guess she wanted the position, so she was always on my ass. I'm like, lady, leave me the fuck alone, right? But I'm trying to be professional. So she'll come in my office. How come you don't have your degrees up and this, and this, right? So everybody worked for me had masters in it. I did. So I secretly enrolled in Fresno Pacific, and I enrolled into college to get my degrees. Not because I wanted to learn none, just so this lady would leave me the fuck alone. But anyway, so from there, I did that job for 5 years. You know, my goal was to squeeze out 3 paychecks. And then from there, I learned just because you don't have a degree, just because you don't have this, don't sell yourself short. I was the perfect person for that position. So then I guess the city of Fresno County wanted our building, so they closed our program. They moved me over to the veterans. So I had a big salary, so they moved me over to equivalent of that. So I was in charge of housing homeless veterans. So I'm running this program again. I'm in charge. I built this up. Now this is where it gets to where the travel comes in. I'll never forget. I get a call from Moesha Washington. I don't never really talk to Mo. I already seen her passing. Mo was like, hey, I got something you need to see. I was like, shit, what is it? You know, so she called me to her house. It was a surprise. It was a travel party. And it was this nigga looking like a light-skinned Drake. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. I'm like, okay, the house is packed. It was my first MLM presentation for World Ventures. I was like, all right, this shit sound cool. Drake was doing a lot of, I ain't gonna front. His name was Taylor Gaffney. Cool young dude, you know. I liked his style. He had got a nickname. He made 100K Tay. And I don't know, for some reason he just did not like me, did not fuck with me. Or I was hard to deal with. I'll give him that. I was probably hard to deal with. But anyway, so World Ventures hit Fresno, and that shit took the fuck off. And I mean, the whole city was on fire. I started learning about MLMs and pyramid schemes and all this other stuff, you know, because if it makes sense, I'm down. But anyway, so I started doing this, you know. I saw really, during this presentation, I saw him and his wife, I forgot her name, Fiona, I forgot. No respect, man. No disrespect. But I saw him and his wife on a ATV 4-wheeler. And I was like, oh shit, I'm in, because I always wanted to do that. So I jumped in. I'm in there. I'm signing people up, doing it. You know, I'm trying to sell travel, but I've never ever been on a fucking vacation. You know, I never went on a vacation. So it's like I'm selling this shit, but I don't got the heart behind it. I don't have the substance. You know, we was doing good. I had a solid team. So then I was like, you know what, Ron, you got to go on a vacation. Anyway, so what it was, our first dream trip, we booked a cruise out of Miami to the Bahamas. I think it was around Christmas and Thanksgiving. So anyway, we go, and we paid the World Ventures, and we had the trip booked. So Esther was like, Ron, you know, we ain't got our cabin number, we ain't got this assignment. And she was like, this don't feel right. Now, me being hard-headed, I was like, man, you don't know about World Ventures. This is how they do it. You know, you don't have to do the normal stuff normal people do. We a top-flight travel club, man. We got this. And she was like, nah, nigga, this ain't right. I was like, Esther, man, just relax. I got this. Cocky as shit. So we fly out to Miami. They're supposed to pick us up from the airport. That didn't happen. So then they tell us, you know, just get it wasn't an Uber at the time, it was something else, but get this taxi, and we shot over to the port. So now we standing in line at the port, and Esther was like, Ron, We supposed to have boarding passes. We supposed to do this because she's done cruises before. I've never went on a cruise. I'm like, Esther, we paid the money. They said this is real. This is what we gonna do. So then, me and Lion, she looking at me funny, but she like, nigga, I'm gonna let you lead this. But she was like, your ass is wrong. And I was like, whatever. So we get up to the line. They don't got us on this shit. You know, I'm showing them my World Ventures payment confirmation. They was like, sorry, sir, you're not on this boat. And that face my wife gave me shook me to the core. All right? Shook me to the core. And I'm like, what you mean we can't get on the boat? You know, I'm like, we paid the money. So World Ventures had this Rovia number or whatever you could call. So I'm like, you know, Esther, she about to cry because we stuck in Miami. No cruise, no tickets. She was telling me she was right, I was wrong. Man, lesson learned. So I called away the 100 number like, hey, what the fuck is up? I'm out here in Miami. They saying we're not on the port. We paid this, we did this. I'm going the fuck off, right? I'm heated now. I'm embarrassed, I'm wrong. I'm stranded at the port in Miami. Esther looking at me like, man. So I told her, I said, look, I'm about to figure this out. Trust in me. I said, I was wrong. I'm going to fix it. You know, I believe in World Ventures. So I called them up, right? And then the lady was like, she looked through there. She was like, yeah, you paid. She was like, you did this, you did this. She was like, she don't know what happened, you know? And I'm like, look, man, I got a team. I'm a senior rep, I guess. I had a little squad. I'm like, I'm going to go back home. Tell everybody this is bullshit. This is a scam. This is a fake. I was hot. I called her all kind of words. You know, Esther looking like she about to cry. Like I think she wanted to break up with me. I deserved it. So I told her, I said, look, either we in Miami, we got some money, we can have fun in Miami, or we can go back home right now and have it out. You know, so World Ventures lady, the Rovia lady was like, Mr. Carnegie, do you have $35? So you lost your motherfucking mind. Y'all got me stranded out here in Miami and y'all want some more money. She was like, no, sir. It's gonna cost you $35 to get to the hotel we booked. They booked us this 5-star hotel in Miami. And she was like, she was like, we're gonna figure this out, but we got you a room so you guys can rest and relax until we figure this out. And I was like, okay, well, that's a start. So this cab take us to this Miami, this fly ass hotel. And I'm telling you, the hotel was so lavish. Like, I'm taking a shower in my hotel room, looking out the window, and people walking by, and I'm making eye contact with people. So that shit was wild. Anyway, so we sitting in the room, you know, Esther's still in her feelings, and I'm like, hey, this is a start. Like, look, we can have fun out here, or we can go home. I don't care. But anyway, so then the lady from World Ventures called me. She was like, Mr. Carnegie, do you guys have your passports? And I was like, yeah, we got our passports. We needed it to get on the motherfucking cruise. That didn't happen. So I'm like, you know what? Let me stop. Let me be cool. She was like, where you want to go, Bahamas or Jamaica? Jamaica, please. And she was like, all right, bet. In the morning, have your stuff ready. It'll be a car. They sent out this black Navigator or whatever. Took me and Esther to the airport, and they took us to the Royalton White Sands in Jamaica. So we stayed there we could have stayed there for 7 days, but we stayed there for 6 because we had a travel party to get back to. So from then on, I was locked in. I was like, I'm World Ventures out. I ended up, pushing it, building teams, getting it cracking. I got the BMWs, so I could have got me a BMW 7, whatever, but I was like, fuck it, I'll take I'll take 2 smaller ones. So that's when me and Esther had the white matching BMWs, and World Ventures was covering it. So it was lit, you know. So I'm just pushing it, selling it. I still only been on one vacation to that Jamaica, but I'm starting to really build up my team. We did a World Ventures thing. So anyway, my story's getting long, but let me tighten it up. So I was working at WestCare for almost 6 years, never took vacation, so I had all these hours of vacation time stored up. So when World Ventures came, I think me and Esther went on 9 dream trips in 1 year. So my job, WestCare, they fired me. They was like, man, your heart is not in it. You're never here no more. You're always on vacation. We're going to let you go. And I was shocked. So I was like, what you mean I'm using my vacation time? But they fired me. I'll never forget it because it was the day before Deadpool came out, because I wanted to go see Deadpool the next day. But I tried to get unemployment, but I missed that phone call. missed my unemployment phone call, so I tried to call back. Now they Westcare denied my unemployment, so now I had to go to a hearing. But the problem was, I had a cruise booked out of Long Beach. I still never been on a cruise. I had a cruise booked. It was me, my mom, Esther, my sister, my daughter, my niece, 2 brothers. So it was 8 or 9 of us. So it was either go to my unemployment hearing or go on this cruise, right? In the meantime, that's when CPR started to come into the fold. You know, I had just, I don't say this person's name, but I had just went to Seattle with this person, and I really saw how he got down, how he did the business, and I was like, so real sloppy. I was like, this could be cleaned up and polished up real good. So I started the journey to become a CPR instructor, and that's gonna be another video. So it was either go on this cruise or go secure this unemployment. So I was like, forget it. I went on a cruise with my family. Now, that day, I'm going to tell you about the day and I'm going to end it. That day on the cruise, I had maybe $400. I had $500 to my name. I remember that morning, we went to Jack in the Box and spent $32. So I was down to $470 something. So anyway, we got to parking. Now, if y'all saw Dave Chappelle Half-Baked, how he had his money, everything was just costing and calculating, that was me. So I'm going on the cruise. It was me, my wife, my daughter, my mom, everybody was in my car. We got to parking. Parking was like $120. So now I'm going on a 4 or 5 day cruise with $300. So your boy was sweating. All right. So only Esther knew how bad I was doing. You know, I don't know. I think she was working at Westcare, I think, at the time, whatever. But I was like, look, pay for parking. We got enough gas to get back home. I was like, everything on this boat. Like, I'd never been on a cruise, so I didn't know what to expect, but I was nervous. So I had $300, and I'll never forget this. We got on the cruise. I saw they had a dice table. I gave Esther $100 for gas. I gave her $100 for gas. I'm like, here, hold on to this money. I took that other 2 to the dice table, and I think I ended up winning about $800 that day. I gave her 6 from that, out of that 8, I gave her 6. I'm like, here, hold this. So now she got 7. So I got like $300 to play with. And I think I lost a little bit. So I'm like, I got another $150. So we made that $150 stretch the duration of the trip. So we got off the boat. It was a spot in LA or whatever where Magic Mountain is. I went over there and bought my CPR bag. I spent $400 and something on my CPR bag. And that's what started CSI. When I got off that boat, I bought all the supplies I needed, my DVD, my mannequins, everything. And I got my CPR back in Valencia, California. From Valencia, California, I started my CPR journey because that next week, I ended up driving up to Seattle teaching CPR. You know, my first 6 months building CPR, I got PayPal proof. I think I made about $12,000. It took me, I think $12,000 was the first year. The next year, I think it was maybe $24,000. And then from there on, it took me about 7 years before CSI made their first $1 million. Now, I'm not saying I made $1 million, but with the company-wide, I think we grossed that area. It took me 7 years. And I built that from scratch off hustle and grit. All right? I didn't grow up saying I want to be a CPR instructor. It was given to me. It was what made sense. Now, I've been doing CSI since 2017. All right? I see the future of it changing. Because now it's going to be self-led classes, so they're not going to need instructors. So really, travel. Travel is where it's at, and I'm going to build my One Oak travel team. You know, the problem with World Ventures was the loophole was everybody thought it was a travel agency, but it's not. It's a prepaid travel club. So I was going to build One Oak. When World Ventures shut down, I was going to build one-of-a-kind travel to kind of mimic what World Ventures did, because 8 people started World Ventures and built into $1 billion business. I was like, I forgot my boy Vibes Cartel, Kevin, he made a post. He was like, imagine if we put 100 people together and started a business. stop it. He's not lying. He's right. So I'm gonna build One Oak Travel with that same mindset, but I'm gonna do it different. All right, I'm not gonna have people sign up trying to sell some shit they know nothing about. It took me to go on my first dream trip to get that 100% belief that this shit is real. You know, I made friends all over the world. My boy Will out there in Little Rock, my boy Mike out there in Texas. I got people everywhere from World Ventures. Elle, I met her in Miami, and she was right there in Visalia. You know, so what I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna get people to experience travel. I'm gonna get people to understand the barriers that come with traveling. That's make it hard for people to travel. Like, how you gonna go on vacation and you owe debt? So I'm gonna show people how to alleviate their debt. You know, how to fix your credit, how to take care of whatever's stopping you from enjoying this beautiful world. That's my goal. And like I said, I'm gonna build it. And you say it right. So what I like about World Ventures is they used to hire or find people and hype them up. Like, you could be like this person. You can get this. You could be like this person. He can do. I don't gotta do that. My real life story is my truth. You know, I booked 120 days of travel in 6 months. You know, I live on this goddamn boat. I built $1 million business with my bare hands. You know, I got my credit from, I didn't give a fuck about credit. You know, I always thought cash was king, but I learned how to get my credit up there. You know, World Ventures before, the problem was an amazing trip would drop and people didn't have $500, $600, $800 to book it. That's all right. We can do a Carnegie Financial now. If a trip drop you wanted, I could pay for it and y'all could pay me in increments. You know, maybe a little finance fee to make sure it makes sense. But that's my premise. You know, I got a lot of amazing friends, and I really feel like we all come together. Like my girl, I got a lot of friends, and we all come together. You know, you come in, you talk to me, tell me the places you want to travel, where you want to go, where you want to be. You know, what's your time frame, what we working with, what's your barriers. I'm trying to fix the barriers to travel. And my job is to get you on your first vacation. After that, if it's for you, it's for you. So, it's your boy Big Ron. This was 22 minutes of my walk. I love y'all. Hey, I'm going to do it with or without. But like I said, let's get it. Peace.